there's the last screen. We got 6 screens up on this live, and wow, I am 100% going to be unapologetic towards this mission today. Okay, let's get it going. I've got my coffee. It is Friday. It is beautiful down here in Miami. It is one of those things where just January is ended already. 2025 has been phenomenal. The last 4 weeks have been nothing short than just pure miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle. And I'm going to be the first one to show up and say that I learned some heavy lessons this month, and I really figured out a new concept that I am going to invite everybody to come and join in on, because it is radically changing my mind about how things work. Okay, so if you've never tuned in before, this is the Black Cat Energy Podcast. My name is Air, and on the Black Cat Energy Podcast, we are going to smile and learn things, develop our self-concept, improve ourselves, our well-being, you name it. We're going to probably cry a little bit because it gets emotional at times. And, there's some hard life lessons within here. And then most of all, we're just going to grow. We're going to be improving ourselves, personal growth journey all the way. And that's what it's about. That's what makes everything so uniquely special. So here we go. This entire episode is just about how strangers will come to your aid, your need, when your support network isn't available. Whenever you're like, how on earth am I going to get out of the mud? And your support network is not, showing up in the way that you showed up for them maybe in the past. And you're like, I'm all alone. You feel isolated, and you're like, I have to take care of myself. And there's that accountability factor. But ultimately, whenever you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't know how to get past this, because you do feel so alone. So this entire episode is living proof that when you are down and you are out and you don't know where to go, and you are feeling like you're going to be homeless, or you're heartbroken, or everything in your life is just fallen down, and your support network is no longer helping you, maybe even abandon you, like, that was last year for me. Like, everything crashed down and total isolation. Everyone that I loved or thought that would be with me whenever I fell down, because I was with them when they fell down, they weren't there. And so with that, God sent strangers. Miracles still happened. And that's the beautiful part about this testimony, this episode, is I wrote it down. Because I can be stubborn. I can be such a stubborn individual. And I had to do this because somebody told me, you're not alone. Even when you feel like you're completely on your own in something, you're not. And I honestly felt so isolated and alone, especially last December when I was in the hospital and literally just fighting for my life in Australia. And I'm like, I'm alone. And I wasn't, because everything had to go exactly the way it did in order to move forward, in order to make what happened so far just in January happen. So bear with me here. This is an entire list of just basically miracle after miracle of person that came into my life in January that I want to highlight and share the cute little story affiliated with this person, to show you that if you do this, if you take this practice and you do it exactly as I did, your whole perspective of humanity will start to shift. Everything you thought that goes for human nature will shift your paradigm. And that's the whole concept here is when you shift your paradigm, you can really start to shift your reality and get the results that you want in your life in order to be happy, fruitful, successful, all those beautiful things. So I invite you to 100% do this, shift your paradigm, figure out who's on your side, what God's bringing into your life, what the universe is bringing into your life, and find out. You know, I'm going to cuss a little bit here, but like fuck around and find out. Like, because that's what I did. I had to literally write it down to prove it to myself. So the way I did this, and I suggest it for you as well, is if you have a Google Calendar or, Microsoft or whatever, a virtual calendar, on the very last day, I want you to put a list of who helped me out this month. And this could be small or it could be huge things. I have some like tiny things on this list, but then I got some like remarkable, like, how on earth did that even happen type of things on this list. So if you do this and you put it at the end of the month, so like, today's the 31st. That's why I'm on this podcast with you today, to celebrate and to like explain this, because I have a list of like 17 people that have came out of nowhere. So that is the difference here. That is what's going to shift this paradigm. Okay. So I'm going to get into it because, we've been hanging out for about 7 minutes now, and I don't like cliffhangers any more than the next person. So, all right, let's start. Everything is in chronological order, and it is 100% authentic. Like, these things happened. All right. So first and foremost, I didn't start out the year watching fireworks and all glitzy and glammy. Remember, I was in the hospital and I was on the other side of the world trying to figure out what is coming next, like where life is going. So that happened. Came back to Miami. I was homeless. I had no idea. My bank account did not have the type of money that I needed it to have. I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't have like the flow of work at the time, like coming in. My clients were kind of dry. Like everything was just like a mess. And that was the destruction of the last year, right? Like everything had to crash down for something to build back better. So I had to ask, money for food. It was really a humble moment where you're like, oh, okay. So I started out with that, just small little thing, food. Great. Then I met somebody at a networking event. His name was Alessandro, and he ended up finding me the place that I'm staying in right now until tomorrow. Tomorrow things change, and it's beautiful. But he found this place, and this place happened to be my old home before Australia. And even with the price of it, I couldn't afford it. And it turned out that some other source brought the money to be able to afford this place. So like that's two different people. And the second person, I will never see. I will never know who they are. I just know that their first name was Val. That's all I know. It could be male, it could be female, whatever, right? So I'm up to 3 people now, right? And it's like day 4, all strangers, okay? I get here and then I meet a guy at the Miami Chamber that gives me advice. His name's Chris. And he gives me banking advice. And when he gives me banking advice for free, right? Because we're just chatting, it goes and it fixes some of the financial chaos from the business not launching the way it was supposed to. The way it was supposed to. I'm going to shift that the way that it did to get me to where I am right now. To fix that. To start working on the financials on the back end. Right? Then I met a guy actually in Australia, and he introduced me to some friends that helped me record my first music album. My music is on Spotify and Apple and YouTube Music now. And my first album is out. My voice is out. And that wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have met Mike that let me basically go into this music studio and record and share my voice. It was beautiful. And then I met Elise, which became my first female friend in Australia, and she's a DJ, and she remixed all of my music to be a co-collaborator on this mission, and it was gorgeous. I'm up to 6 people. Then I met a guy named John Henry who gave me a place to stay after I got out of the hospital and out of the doctor's office because he was going to Europe and he couldn't Airbnb his space anyways. I met him at high tea and he literally was like, just take my place. Just have it. It's like, I trust you. And it's like, you don't even know me. He's like, I know your energy. Like, I trust you. So again, a place to stay. I'm up to 7 people. And then I met his housekeeper, and his housekeeper did something really sweet. And she just like did my laundry. I had no idea. And I come back and all my laundry's done. I didn't know where I was gonna go. Like I was still in Australia and could barely move. And she's taking care of me. This is a list of people that come to your life when you're open and receptive and being pure energy that come and help you out. Okay. Then I have my dear friend Seth. Seth actually rents one of my condos, and he has been a rock during this time. I am not sure I would have made it without his emotional support, his caring, his friendship. And he has done so many small things. He has picked up the phone every single time I called in tears, whether it was money, whether it was finances, whether it was a heartbreak over my ex. Like, he has been a rock. Then I met Hawk and Carmelia. Okay, I'm up to 10 people, guys. These are people that are in the real estate world, and we're working on selling a condo to be able to kind of liquidate some funds, to be able to bring my vision and my spirit back to life. And I've been seeing them hustle and like work, and I'm so proud of them. Okay, all right, now we're up to 11. I got a guy named Tim. He basically like he was putting me to work, but ultimately, he really helped me figure out my self-worth actually by tearing me down. We had some tough conversations in Australia where I had to choose self-love, self-respect. And he definitely was very giving, and like I'm very grateful for like the gifts and the energy that was happened because it made me return to who I am. And it was like, enough is enough. I'm going back home, and there's no one going to take away my home. This is my place. So, all right, I'm up to 10. Then I met a guy named Jefferson. Jefferson actually works at FIU, and he actually circulated my resume to be a professor at the university or to take on some type of different position. But mostly Jefferson gave me spirit and hope that, like, again, strangers will come. And if you network and you're open and you're very vulnerable, they want to help. Um, Let me just pause because it's super important. And this is something that's very controversial, but we're on 11 right now. And I feel like this is a beautiful moment when you're at, 11 being such a holy number to say that every single person that I've said so far has been Christian. The first 6 years that I lived in Miami, before I went to Australia, I couldn't find a Christian to save my life. It sounds weird. It's just like, I felt like maybe I just was not in the right energy, the right headspace, but I felt like there was no Christians in Miami. And knowing what I know now, that everyone that kind of came about in this circle, in this cycle of life was Christian, just really blew my mind. So, all right, now we get to number 12, Kenya. Kenya was my first female friend coming back to Miami. And she 100% had this contagious laugh. And some of the conversations that we had during my first Bible study that they invited me to, I hadn't gone to a Bible study in 2 years. She brought back some spirit, a little bit of hope, a little bit of philosophical conversation in there. But like, blessed be her, because like her laugh is what helped me meet these other people that got me to where I'm at. And if she wouldn't have been laughing, I wouldn't have turned to be able to meet them, including Alessandra from earlier. Okay. Then I met a guy named Isar. I met Isar on the side of the street. And to be honest with you, he came on to hit on me. And I had to be like straight up with him and be like, I am not in a position to where like I'm available for that type of stuff right now. And I just told him like a dash of my story of where I'm at. Like, I was looking for a home at that time, looking for work at that time. And I'm just like I'm not there for her. I'm sorry. And he ended up giving me a referral and a ride to Citibank to be able to like work with the bank. So yes, I didn't end up taking that position, but at the end of the day, that was a beautiful blessing that came. All right. Then there's Amari. Amari literally reignited my spiritual journey with Christ 100%, inviting me to that Bible study. I've been going to more church and more Bible studies in the last 2 weeks than I probably have in the last, few years. So 100%. He also introduced me to Claudine, which also has been helping me with real estate. So like all these little connections, right? I didn't know any of these people until I met them this month. Like within this 30-day period, I met all of these people. I didn't have anybody, okay? And I'm not even done. So after that, I met a guy named Bruce. Bruce Taylor sent a message to somebody else I was interviewing with a cosmetic clinic. And Bruce Taylor, like, just did that because I met him at Soho, of all places. And the conversation I had with him and a guy named Rizman, which was like the founder of Mint Mobile, who sold his company, and I'm so proud of him for doing that. Like, I had the most beautiful, insightful, strategic conversation with them in Soho. And they gave me so much insight. And they also told me that my mind was right again. And to have your mind right again means that you can start flourishing again. And God promised us a flourishing life. Not an easy life, but a flourishing life. All right. Then I had a crazy, beautiful experience where I was supposed to go to a Bible study that was across the bridge in this residential building. And for some reason, I got there and the doors were locked. No one's there. And I'm like, oh, okay. This is after yoga. And I was just like tired. I was like, okay, I'll go back and I will, just read the Bible, or I'll go, straight to sleep, whatever. There was a different plan there, 100%, because I go and I pass this Presbyterian church. I don't really identify as any denomination, and let alone like Presbyterian, but I've always kind of been curious with this church because it's a beautiful place. And I walk in and I start hearing music. And I'm someone, I used to sing on stage at churches and stage for like different performances and things of that nature. Remember the music video, it's been a very musical month for me. I walk in this church, I hear them rehearsing for the band, and this other guy comes up to me and he goes, here, are you here for the Bible study? And I was like, what? I was like, no, I was supposed to go to a Bible study somewhere else, but for some reason it didn't work out. It is what it is. And he goes, no, you're here for the Bible study. Come with me. I meet a huge group of people, like 20 individuals, and each of them had gone through something that I had gone through recently that had destroyed everything I knew about my self-concept and my life from the past. So here I am after like listening to their answers. They don't know my story yet. I told my story at the end, and literally one of them had lost their company before. One of them had been in a legal battle before. One of them had battled for their health that December. One of them had had a major heartbreak. One of them had lost their home. One of them had lost their job. And each of them shared how they prevailed, how they moved through it, how they saw the other side. And granted, I had to do it all at once. I did it all in 1 year of just chaos and destruction and removal. But it gave me so much hope. It was like I was meant to be in that room to listen to these answers. So that happened 2 days ago. And then the most beautiful thing is I met my new roommates. I told you I'm no longer here anymore. I'm moving different places. I met my new roommate, Jen, and we were walking the quay last night, and it was a beautiful experience because she is 100% aligned with where I'm at in my journey too. She had had a major betrayal and heartbreak. She was also a God-fearing woman and Christian in my cycle of life. And the price was right. If I tell you, the price was 100% right. So I get to now have this new beautiful chapter. All these people, again, I'm going to count them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, plus 20, 41, plus 2 more. We're at 43 people. That is more than one person a day. So if you feel alone, if the people around you are not supporting you, just remember, God will send you people when you have none, and you are supported. That is the contagious magnetic energy of the black cat, the divine source, what have you. All right. That's all for my lives today. All 6 streams. So many cameras on me. All 6 of them. All right. Be strong, my cat.